science subject you've been running away from? Now it's staring you in the eyes, Abby. You want to write final exam. Biology, physics, chemistry is giving you a problem. Not to worry. Then, I know you those parents, your child will come back from school and bring assignments home. You'll not be looking for one brother here and there to come and teach your child. Why can't you teach your child? Well, that is why I'm here, to break all these things down to you. So, my name is Mr. Paul, and my job here is to take you on general sciences. I'm going to break it down step by step, and I'm going to make it a whole lot of fun for you. What is science? Science is the language of the universe. Science is how we interact with the universe. Science is all about the universe. Science. So let me quickly show you the topics we're going to be treating, that I am going to be focusing on when it comes to sciences. Don't forget, we have the biology, we have physics, we have chemistry. All these things put together may form your sciences, your core sciences. But don't forget, we have one guy who is the oracle. Without him, science cannot really be expressed, and that is mathematics. In real sense of it, this should be number one. And any other thing can be number 2, 3, or 4. But most importantly, this is number one. Without really understanding the basics of mathematics, science cannot be totally understood or cannot be really understood. Alright, so let us dive into the world of sciences by introducing to you what mathematics is. So if you've been running away from maths, today you will find that maths is just easy. It's just those things that are around us, the things you do in your kitchen, the things you do in your bedroom, the things you do while you are driving, all those stop signs you see, all the number of people on the road, the amount of students in the school, your child's pair of shoe. All these are just basic mathematics. So I'm going to explain to you what numbers are. So stay tuned. What are numbers? Numbers are just graphs. What is a graph? A graph is something that I can see, that can be represented by, I can actually visually recognize it. So if all of us in the world have agreed that if you see something that looks like this, it represents just a unit, that's 1, then that is what it is. So this is universally accepted to represent 1. So this is a graph. So is this a graph? So is this a graph? So is this a graph? And then this 6, 7, 8, 9. We stop here. So these are numbers. Everybody knows these are numbers. We use the Arabic numerals. So these are numbers. So you begin to understand what is Arabic. When they say Arabic, we write from the right to the left. But in English, of course, we write from the left to the right. But you begin to understand when we begin to do a little bit of operations here and there. Now, what are numbers? And what can these numbers be used for? When we're growing up, our teachers would be like, okay, everybody stand up. 1, 1, 2, repeat after me. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, and then you just keep counting until you get to like 1,000. Of course, after counting that, you'll be very tired. Of course, you didn't know what you were doing then, but it was just your teacher was trying to help you to have a clear memory of the sequence. Which number follows which number and which number follows the next number. So this is just the idea of sequence, understanding the sequence. So of course, everybody knows that after 1, it is 2. After 2, we have 3. After 3, we have 4. After 4, we have 5. But why is it like this? I may not be able to exactly tell you why it is like that, but I'm sure you will understand by the end of this class. If I have just a single unit of an object or an item, then we can represent it by 1. Now, let's watch this. If this is 1, it simply means I just have an item that is just a single one. Take, for example, an apple. Do you like my apple? Alright, the same thing. If I had just number 2, I could just say this. Now I have 2 apples. But just imagine that I have 1,000 apples. How will I represent 1,000 apples? This board is too small to represent 1,000 apples. So let's do something that is realistic. Let's do something like, if I say 500 apples. Does this make sense? I think it does. It makes sense because I can have 500 apples. Now, I'm looking at the tree. I can estimate that, okay, I have about 200 or 100 apples on this tree. So you can see that in your environment, we can actually use numbers to represent the quantity of something or things. So that is where counting comes into play. So in your house, you want to know the number of spoons in your kitchen. You can count them one after the other. 1, 2, 3. These are pens, these are not spoons. Very simple. So numbers can be used to determine the quantity of something. That is one use of number, to quantify. Am I speaking big English? The quantity, I would say to quantify. Numbers can be used to do what? To quantify. Numbers can be used to quantify. What else can numbers be used for? Numbers can be used to name. Yes, you can use numbers to name. Let me give you an example. Do you recognize something like this? In those movies, when a crime is being committed and then the thief is trying to get away in a car, the first thing they do is you quickly take a picture of the number plate. The number plate now look like something like LKJ134. Now that we already have this number, it's easy for us to just trace whoever is driving that car by running the plates or checking the registration. So every plate number is unique. No two plate numbers have the same name. Not to say, so we just call this, you can use numbers as a name. You can use it to name things. So we usually call it nominal, but of course that's not important. It's just enough to understand that it's just a name. What we can use numbers to do is to determine the position of something, like an index. Take for example, I want to climb a staircase. This is a staircase, it looks like this. This is what a staircase looks like. And then I'm climbing the first step. This is 1. And then the second step. So this is the first step, the second step, the third step, the fourth, fifth, and then the sixth step. So these are just simple positions. These are positions that you can use number to determine the first position, the second position, the third position. Just imagine that you have a lot of first steps. No matter how many first steps you have, it can never lead you to the second step. And no matter how many second steps you have, it can never lead you to the third step. It's not possible. Or can you say, I'm in primary 1 and then my friend is in primary 2, but since I'm in primary 1, if I get my friend who is in primary 1, both of us will now become equivalent to somebody in primary 2. It's not possible. So this is what we talk about indexing. Your number can serve as an index to determine each position as you keep going. Maybe as you climb the step, as you travel, you can say 1 kilometer. After 1 kilometer, you move to the next kilometer. That can be quantifying. At the same time, we can use it to determine our position. So if the position is interval, that means that you have a particular distance between the first and the second, and it is equal. Then we can now say it is quantifying. That is what you mean by interval. You call it interval. Interval. So when you have an interval with this, I can always add 1 and 1, it will give me 2. I can add 2 and 2 to give me 4. So I can say, well, I traveled 1 kilometer, then another kilometer, then another kilometer. Altogether, I've traveled 3 kilometers. So that makes a whole lot of sense because it's an interval. But if I have a plate number that is LKJ134M and I have another one that is LKM135Z, then I cannot add both of them together to give me a new name. It doesn't work like that. So that's why this is an interval, this is nominal, and then of course this is ordinal. This is an ordinal, so we call it ordinal. Ordinal numbers. So these are the 3 types of numbers that I promised I was going to talk about. In this tutorial, we talked about numbers. We said numbers are graphs which can be used to represent the idea of figures and quantification of items. And we already said these numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to 9. So we said things that numbers can be used for. So we mentioned 3 of them, and the first one is what? Nominal. Nominal simply means to name. To name. That means we can use numbers to name, like we use the example of a plate number. A plate number. Plate number. Number plate. And then the second thing we talked about was ordinal. These kind of numbers can be used to represent a position of something or an idea. Take for example primary 1, primary 2 and primary 3, and we said that someone in primary 1 cannot add up to become someone in primary 2. Take for example, you have 2 people in primary 1. 2 people in primary 1 cannot add up to become a primary 2 person. It doesn't work like that. Or the first level of your staircase, no matter how you add the level of your staircase together, how many levels of staircase together, you can never make up the second level of your staircase. It's not the same. So that's why your ordinal number is just used to determine the position of something, just like your index. So we can use the word index. Index. And then finally, we talk about the interval. In this interval, we talk about the equal distancing of something, or equal quantification of something, equal magnitude. If I have 1 kg plus another 1 kg, definitely this can give me 2 kg if I put it on the scale. So that is why we have it as interval, because the difference between the first and the second is the same distance between them, so they can be added up. Are the 3 things you can do with numbers. Hope you understand. So if you love this tutorial, like, subscribe and share with your friends. If you have any questions or worries regarding any aspect of maths, probably if you're writing WAEC, you want to do common entrance, and you have, or even though you are just a regular person who is not doing any of these things, but you just have very strong interest in mathematics and sciences, if you have any particular bugging questions, you can always ask in the comment section. If you love this tutorial, then definitely you'll love the next one.